Let's add two elements into our page. The first one is a text box. Input type equal to text for text boxes with an ID of txt and name as name txt with a value of equal JavaScript or JS lesson. And let's end our input and let's add another one. It is input or button, and the type of this button is button. We have two types, button and submit. Let's now try the submit button with an ID of btn and name equal to name btn, and let's put here click and end the button element. Now we have two elements in our page, and when the browser loads our page it will create a tree, and this tree is called DOM or document object model that contain all the elements in this page, and we can access them one by one using JavaScript. Now the first method to access an element is by using the getElementById method. Let's go to the script section and type var, and it is txt equal to document, because we are working in this current document, getElementById, and inside the quotes we can add the ID of the element that we want. We have two ID in our page, txt and btn. Let's go now for txt. We can use a property called .value to access the value of this text box. Let's go and send this txt to the console.log txt. Let's refresh, and here we have JavaScript lesson. Now we have another type of method. It is called getElementByTagName. And if I typed var tag name, and it is equal to document dot get elements with s, because we are getting all the elements, we will see how. Get elements by tag name. Inside this get elements by tag name we specify the element that we have inside our document. We have now input element and a button element. We can add here td element or table element or any type of elements we have. Now we have an input and a button. If I type here input, if I have multiple inputs inside my page, they are going to be added into this array, and I will access them using index. So now I have only input type 1, and if I go to console.log, or let me add a variable, a new variable x, and it is equal to tag name 0 of index 0. Now I can set another variable, or in the same variable I can get another properties, and it is called get attribute, and I can inside this attribute specify which attribute I need to get. If I have a name for this input, I can type here name. So what we are going to see now is in the console is name txt, because the x is accessing the value that have an index of 0, and it is this input, and get attribute method help us to access the name of this element and get it inside this x here. Console.log x. Let's refresh, and here it is name txt. So we get the name or any attribute inside this. We can get the type of this element. Type. The type is text. Now this is get elements by tag name, and we can here, instead of get attribute, we can set an attribute. So let's try it. We remove the var x for now and tag name 0 dot set attribute type, and I want to change it into button. Okay, and let's refresh, and the text box now is changed into button. Now we can make another transformation. We can change the name or the value of the text. Instead of JavaScript lesson, we can change it into set attribute lesson. And here it is, we changed the attribute. This is how we get an attribute value, and we change an attribute value of an element. If we have two inputs now, and let me change this one into txt2, and here txt2 and JavaScript lesson 2, and I can access now the tag name 1. This is our tag name 1, and if I want to access all of them, I can put them inside a loop by doing the following. For I equal 0, I should be less than tag name dot length, because this is an array, and increment I plus plus, and what we are going to do is the same here. Let's close the braces first, and instead of 0 I can put I and save. Let's try and refresh, and you will see that they both have the same attribute. Here we can get attribute like this here at the console. Sorry, x isn't defined. Let me put the console dot log tag name I, and now we will see the values for those text boxes. We are seeing this because we didn't put every index inside a variable. So let me put x or var x equal to tag name, and here I will print x. And here it is, JavaScript lesson and JavaScript lesson 2. We have a new method, and it is called inner HTML, that help us to get the HTML content of every element we want. Let me add now a div, and I will set this div ID into content, and let me close the div element and type here, this is a div element. Var txt, it is equal to document dot get element by id, and the id is content dot inner html, and sorry, inner html is a property and not a method. Document dot get element by id content dot inner html, and at the console we will see this is a div element. This is a div element. Here it is. Now we can change the HTML content of each element we want by using the same text. So instead of var txt, we put here equal, and we changed this div value. Let's refresh, and here it is, we changed this div value. Now if we set inside this div element a table or a UL, let me try this, li hello li to this course, we will see that var txt equal to, and if we remove this and just get the inner HTML of this div, we will see all of the HTML content inside this ID, inside the content ID, even with the element tags like UL, LI, and others.